Hey there, fellow classic comic collectors. As always, I'm Scott Harris King, and today I'm back with another exciting store visit. This time, though, I'm visiting a store I've already visited before because it's my LCS. That's Entertainment in Worcester, Massachusetts, the crown jewel of comic book stores here in New England. My favorite place to be, really. I love That's Entertainment. Now, in my previous video, I didn't really get that much, in part because it's been my LCS for 30 years and I go regularly, and so there's not that much necessarily in the back issue bins that I haven't already picked over. But a couple of things have changed. First of all, I haven't been back to the store in like 9 months due to my health issues and due to COVID, but also I've been, as you know, I've been sort of honing some of my collecting things, getting rid of some stuff, and really drilling down on what I want to collect. And so as a result, I have a slightly different collecting focus. When I went this time, I was looking for slightly different things. So the result is I bought a whole bunch of stuff. I don't have any video of the inside of the thing, but I've got a link here somewhere to the previous video where you can see inside this Magic Wonderland of comics. So let me start off with some of the simpler stuff that I got. And the first thing is supplies. So I got 200 Silver Age bags, because this has been driving me crazy. I bought some Silver Age bags off of Amazon a little while ago. When I got them, they said silver/modern bags, and I was like, what are you talking about? And they're bags that are actually technically big enough for silver, but only if those silvers have no like rolling at all. They're exactly the right same size as a silver comic. So silver books in them get very snug, and sometimes I can bend them, and I was really unhappy with that. So I got 2 bags, 200 Silver Age, actual Silver Age size bags. I know there's been some shortages a little bit with some of this stuff because of all the shortages everywhere with everything. The other thing I got is 200 magazine-sized bags. Now, as you know, I've been trying to deal with some mustiness, some dustiness, and I don't think this is a contributing factor, but the fact is I've got almost a complete run of Savage Sword of Conan. I've got about 200 issues. A lot of them are not bagged, so I've got stacks of magazines in my office that are from the 70s and 80s, unbagged. It's possible that those could be contributing to the general malaise in the room. I also now have it's hard to believe this, but I've got about 100 issues of Alter Ego at this point. Now, those are much newer, and I don't think they really have any mustiness, particularly the newer ones have the glossy paper. But I figured, you know what, let's get some magazine-sized bags. Another thing I wanted to get the magazine-sized bags for, and I need to get some magazine-sized boards would help with this as well, it's the best way really to store the 3-packs. Right now I have all my 3-packs, my unopened 3-packs. I did a video about that before, lying flat on, so they're fine, but I would like to give them a little more protection. And what I've read is put them in these magazine size bags. So you put the whole 3-pack inside this, along with a magazine size board, and that's how I received a couple that I bought online like that. I have an unopened Micronauts 1, 2, and 3 in a package like that, and it worked perfectly. There's a couple things I actually didn't have at the store, and I think it's because of these issues with shipping and with supply chains and stuff, and so they were actually out of drawer boxes. I wanted to get a new magazine-sized drawer box because I had to throw away my old one because there was some mold growing on it. It's just something was going on inside with the box itself, so I dumped that. I wanted to get a replacement. The magazine-sized drawer boxes are really good for putting Mylars in because they're extra wide for magazine, whereas regular boxes and drawer boxes, as you know, they're not wide enough for Mylars. So I like to keep some of the nicer things I have in Mylars, I like to keep in those magazine drawer boxes, but they didn't have any. What I'm thinking about getting is instead of cardboard, in order to cut down on the possibility of the mustiness and mold, there's a company, I think it's BCW maybe, that does plastic cases. And I'm going to look into that and see if they're wide enough for the Mylars. I might get a plastic case to then keep some of my higher end books in. So Speaking of alter ego, I also picked up my subscription. Now, my subscription was interesting. I was like, man, I haven't been there in months. I'm going to have so many books. But actually, I didn't. Because I only have one comic on my subscription. Big asterisk. I'll show you that in a second. And in addition to that, I have alter ego. So I have 3 new issues of alter ego, new to me. It's 169, which I'm really interested in, the Gary Friedrich Spotlight issue, because I have a specific interest in some stuff that Gary Friedrich did besides Ghost Rider. I think he's a really interesting creator to look at from a few angles. At some point I'm going to do a video about this, so I don't want to spoil it. 170 is a Jack Kirby-centric issue, and I've already read Roy Thomas's contributions to this, where he talks about his feelings about Kirby and his relationship with Kirby. He talks only a little bit about the House Roy stuff, but I found that really interesting, so I jumped right to that. And then finally, I haven't looked at this one yet. It's Paul Gustafson and the Golden Age of Quality Comics. So I am really interested in this because I am interested in quality comics. You know, in my series, the Crime Busters that I do, I've used some quality characters that are in the public domain. Yes, DC did buy quality stuff, but a lot of the characters are already lapsed in the public domain. And while DC has tried to copyright a lot of them, or rather has tried to trademark a lot of them, they haven't been that successful, plus a lot of the characters they didn't even bother with, regardless of whether they're trademarked in the public domain. So characters like Granny Gumshoe and Uncle Sam are characters that I've been using that quality use, so I am interested in this. So I mentioned the only series, I only have one series on my pull list, and it's this one here. It's Usagi Yojimbo. Check out this great cover for issue 17, which is an homage to Frank Frazetta, a cover for Eerie. It's so cool. Isn't that great? That's issue 17. Now, I'm missing issue 18, so this is interesting. This Entertainment has been my LCS for about 30 years, and they're really good with this stuff. So I knew something had gone wrong then when I'm missing issue 18, and I talked to them, and they weren't really sure why I didn't have it, but the best guess was that their shipment came in damaged, and the publisher never sent them a replacement. So they're in the process of trying to find me a new issue 18. I was a little concerned about it because the sales on Usagi Yojimbo for many years have been very low in the floppy form, in the individual issues. This series does really well in the trades and the collections and the saga. It's a staple at like libraries and stuff like that. So the collected editions do really well, but the comics have just this very small hardcore collecting base, and so sales on the series have only been about 4,500 per issue for many years. So if you miss an issue of this, it can be really hard to find them. So I'm going to wait and see if they're able to track one down. If not, I can get it on eBay. It's just instead of cover price of $4, it's going to cost me $8 to $10 or $12 even, depending on how soon I can get it to pick it up. But I was really excited for that. And then I also got the rest of the issues that I had been missing since last time I was there. So that's 19, 20, and so this is proof positive of my LCS being stand-up people, because the 18 was clearly just a mistake. 20 is a book that has had a lot of speculation because of the Netflix TV series. It introduces this new character here, which is Usagi Miyamoto. Usagi Yojimbo is his cousin, and at the end of the issue, he ends up at the end of the story, they end up traveling off together, right? So he's going to be a recurring character. There's a lot of speculation that he's going to be in part of the TV series. So that book is a book that's like $15, $20 now on eBay, but it was in my pull list. It's just 18 for some reason didn't get. Here's issue 22. I love this great colorful cover with the waves. It's just classic sort of homage to Japanese art. 23. This is the most recent one that they had at the store. I think 24 is just about to come out. So really excited. I do wish that the series had the original numbering on the cover. Little hint. I'm gonna drop a little. I think I might have mentioned this before, but The big issue, other than Albedo #2, that's gone up so much, is Usagi Yojimbo #1, the first series, and totally great. But that was not the first issue of the series. So before issue 1, there was Usagi Yojimbo Summer Special #1, which came out a whole year earlier, and then after that there was Usagi Yojimbo #1, and the numbering continued. So people treat that as #1 because it's the first in the ongoing series. But the thing is, the series has rebooted 4 times. So that series went to like issue 38. Then there's a new series that ran 15 issues. Then there's a Dark Horse, which is 171 issues. And now the IDW version is on issue 23. However, if you open the comic and look at the indicia here, you'll see this, which says number 261 in a series. So Stan Sakai, who does the series, has been tracking the actual issue numbers as though the series had never been rebooted. And the first issue of the run is Summer Special, not Usagi #1, it's Summer Special #1. That's the actual #1. So just a little tip for hardcore collectors. If you're putting this run together, you have to start with a Summer Special. That's only worth about a quarter of what the #1 is worth. So yeah, little trick for you. But anyway, I was surprised to find something else in my box because I thought that was the only comic that I have a subscription for. And that's because the other comic I had a subscription still on my list had ended years ago, and I didn't realize they were bringing it back. So I was very surprised to see Chilling Adventures of Sabrina #9 in my box. Now, I had already sold off the first 8 issues. However, my wife has them in trade. She really liked the show, and she's eventually going to read them. Since it's on my pull list, I felt compelled to buy it because, that's the deal with things. So I did buy it. I also think this is cool. If you look closely at the signature, you'll see it says Hack after Dan DeCarlo. I recognize this right off as an homage to Archie's Madhouse 27, which has the first Sabrina cover. Her first appearance is in 22, but she's not on the cover until 27. And I did at one point have a copy of that I got for like $3 at an LCS, and I flipped it for $75. So I have fond memories of that comic. So I'm not really into horror. I did read it, but it's not really my thing. Still, I'm probably going to keep buying it. My wife might want to read them. So those are the new stuff. It took me 12 minutes to get through the new stuff. But let me show you the back issues I got. Because I got a lot of those too. Now, as you know, I've been focusing down on the specific series that I'm really interested in. And so I got a bunch of things from the titles that I'm really drilling down on. But before I get to some of those, I just completed a run. So that run is this here. These are sticking together for some reason. It's The Further Adventures of Indiana Jones. These are all actually really high-grade copies. So here's issue 1. Number 2. And then 6, which has a Howard Chaykin cover. 7, and 8. So those are the only issues I was missing. This is a series that has a lot of nostalgia for me. When I first reading comics, I didn't start with superheroes. I started with everything but superheroes. So it's genre books, but also a lot of licensed books. So I was getting stuff like Conan and Star Wars, and Indiana Jones is one of the first comics that I read. My first issue is 26. Now the series lasted until I think issue 36. And over the last few years, I've put together the whole rest of the run out of dollar bins. Sometimes quarter bins, sometimes 50-cent bins. But I got the whole thing for $1, and I was just missing these 5 issues. And when you get to that point when you're trying to put together things from dollar bins, you have, it's basically like, yes, I got the first 31 of 36 pretty quickly, but I could spend years and years trying to find the specific ones I have left. So between that and just wanting to support my LCS, I decided it was worth it to me to spend the $3 or $4 each, which is what these are cost, to just get the ones I was missing. And they had all of them. They're all high grade. There's actually a slight mustiness here, and I have a strong suspicion that that is not from the comic, but is from the bags. I'm betting that these were in, their deep back issue storage, facility, their huge warehouse. So these are things I might swap the bags out for fresh bags because I think that'll take care of the problem. So, but I'm really excited to get this because it just has a lot of nostalgia for me. And it's always nice to finish a run. So there it is, the whole run complete. So at some point you can look forward to me showing the entire run in one of my complete run videos, all 36 issues. But there's other titles that I've really been drilling down on in terms of completing those runs. Now, some of them I'm not really close to completing, but here we have Archie 113. Now you can see I paid $15 for this, and it's a solid lower grade. So it's got some creases on it. It's probably a 4, maybe a 4.5, but it's a solid book. And this is what I'm starting to have to do, is basically I'm spending, instead of spending $3 or $4 for a really trashed copy of this that might be musty or moldy or water damaged, I'm spending a little more for a nicer copy. And a prime example of that is the $13 that I spent on this, which is a nice copy of 140. It's got a ding up here in the corner. Other than that, it's pretty nice. It's pretty solid. And this is a book that I already have. I got this in a really musty mod that actually set things off for me a while ago. And so when I saw this nicer copy, even though I already had it, I decided to upgrade. And so we got one issue checked off my Archie list, which is 113. Now, 113 is also from an era that I think is undervalued because those books from like 56 to like 60 in that era, and 113 is right at the tail end of that. I don't actually even know what the publication date is on it, but I'm guessing it's 60 or 61. They're not that easy to find. They're getting harder and harder to find. And I'm gonna talk about this more when I get some of the issues in the 80s, which are the ones I think are really undervalued, because they had the same cover design from around issue 83 or 82 up until like issue 200 something. People think of that as all being like from the same era, and those ones, but when they changed that design, it was like 1956. And so those are books from the 50s. The cover design looks just like the ones from 15 years later. And so they're not really, people don't register just how old and hard they are to find. And this is the book that I think is, that era around 113 is not that easy to get nice copies of. I got some solid copies of Superman's Girlfriend, Lois Lane 38 with a classic question mark cover. And also 39. So that means I'm missing issue 40 in order to have, that will give me like issue 30. I have 41 and up, but with these, I think I'm missing 40 to have 35 and up. I'm only missing like 31, 34 and 40, and when I get those, I'll have 27 and up. So those are the 3 that I'm really drilling down on now. I want to start knocking out some of these Lois Lane issues. I have a long way to go in that. I don't really have any of the early ones, and those are very expensive, but I want to keep inching that backwards, just sort of nudging that lower and lower. But here's a run that I'm gonna finish with these, because this is a run that I'm really focusing on now, and we're almost there into quest territory. It's Strange Tales number 121, which I paid $19 for. It's got one of the early Doctor Strange covers. And then number 133. This one was $19. And these are books that a couple years ago I would not have paid. Like, I only wanted to pay like $10 or $8 or something. But now I'm getting close. I want to have them in slightly nicer shape, as we've been talking about a lot. But also I'm starting to get close, because with these purchases, I'm officially down to just 10 issues left. Just 10 issues to have all the Doctor Strange issues of his solo series, from Strange Tales 110 up until Strange Tales Volume 2, number 19, which is a period of 25 years of continuity. There's a couple guest appearances that I think I might want to get. I haven't really been focusing on things like, Marvel Team Up or whatever. But there is an interesting appearance in Amazing Spider-Man 109 that I might look into, because it was during a period where Doctor Strange hadn't been in comics for a couple years, and they were sort of bringing him back in. And so that's a book that came out between the debut of the Defenders and just before he returned to his own series. So I kind of want to get that one, but it's not really necessary. So I'm really excited about that. Oh, there was one other book that I got. By the time this airs, I probably won't have it anymore, because I picked this up for one of you. And that is this quite solid, tight, nice looking copy of All American Men of War number 90. And this is really nice. I'm covering the price because it's just possible I might keep this copy and send out the one that I already have in my collection, because this is an issue that has a Roy Lichtenstein references in it, and more than one, I think. I think there's at least 2. And so as a result, it's not worth as much as issue 89, but it's definitely on the radar, and it's harder to get like on eBay, because sometimes you can get lucky with it, and then other people know about the Lichtenstein, and if they do, it's going to be expensive. So I've been talking with someone about this issue specifically, and I knew they had it in my LCS, and I hadn't bought it before, because since I already have a decent copy, I was like, I don't want to spend that kind of money just to flip it. I wasn't sure there was the flipping value to make it worth my time. However, in this case, it's something that I want to be sending off to someone who needs it, and that's totally different, because I'm not really looking to turn a profit on that. So that was the other book I got. They actually have another copy there that's much cheaper, but that's because it's really trash. So I figured, you know what, let's get the decent one. So all in all, it was a great haul. I spent a lot of money on all this stuff. It really adds up when you're spending $20 or $19 or even $10 or $15 each on these back issues instead of $3, $4, or $5, which is what I'm used to. But great haul, very excited. I got my Strange Tales down to just 10 issues left. Knocked a couple more Lois Lanes off there, got some Archies, and I completed this Indiana Jones run. So all in all, great day there. They had a lot of cool new wall books there that I was looking at that weren't really quite in my wheelhouse. The only one I thought about getting was the Thor 337, but I just sold my copy like 2 years ago, just before that book took off, when I sold my whole Thor run. And my copy I had personally had signed by Walt Simonson. So that's a book where I really don't want to pay that kind of money for it, because I should have just kept it to begin with. But they had a lot of really cool wall books. They had a whole stack of Silver Age DCs on the wall. Particularly, they had a Superman 146, which is an all-time classic cover. Considered getting it. I don't collect Superman anymore, but I love that cover. However, the thing about that cover is, if the colors are nice, it's amazing. But this one, the colors are a little bit faded, and that one's all about the color strike. I'd much rather have a lower grade copy of that with a really good color strike than a higher grade copy with bad color. So I decided to pass on it, but it's a great book that you don't see very often. And so anyway, there's a lot of cool stuff there. So anyway, that's Entertainment Worcester, Mass. Check it out if you haven't been there. If you have a chance, I definitely recommend it. And anyway, thanks very much for watching. I'll see you next time.